Hi, my name is Tammy. I'm with the Queen's Tarts. We're down at the Mill Market year-round, and I'm going to show you today how to make butter tarts.
So what is the first step?
First step is the pastry. So in here I've got flour, baking powder, salt, and brown sugar. A batch of pastry will make me 4 dozen tarts. So I've just put all the dry ingredients in here and mixed it around. And then my next step will be shortening. And then the muscle powder comes in. I'm just going to cut the shortening in, make it, it's supposed to be really fine. I'm lazy, so it doesn't get as fine as it's supposed to be. A few years ago, I had signed up to do a volunteer build with Habitat for Humanity in Kenya, and I needed to figure out a way to pay for it. So I just started throwing it out to family and friends to see who would be interested. And I was able to cover my airfare that way. So every time I've gone on a build since then, I've done the same thing. And then when the Mill Market opened up, I decided I would try it there. And since I've been there, it has kind of blossomed into a little bit more. And we kind of go here and there and everywhere with them. So now that the shortening has been cut in, I'm going to add egg and water. There's 1 egg in a batch. And then you add the water up to cold water. And then vinegar. Yeah, my recipe calls for 3/4 cup, but I changed things up a little bit. I've adjusted my shortening amounts and the water amounts just to kind of get the texture that I like to work with. I have a little old cookbook, a pastry cookbook that I got from, actually my ex-husband's aunt gave it to me. And I just kind of played with stuff in there. So it's a little bit, it's not quite exactly the way it says in the cookbook. So then we're just going to mix it in until it's all kind of comes together. So it's still a little bit sticky, but all we're going to do, we're going to wrap it up and chill it. Put these in the fridge and trade out for one I've already chilled.
Magic.
Just like that. Pastry is a hard thing to do, so it takes a lot of practice. So I think there's some flavor in the pastry. I think the brown sugar helps with that, and just kind of the flakiness and the crispiness as well. Like it's a combination of things. But I think they just taste really good. And the filling, like I said, the filling isn't as sweet as a standard butter tart filling. So there's a little more flavor than just right out sweetness. You can eat more than one without feeling too bad. So I'm gonna grab a pan. And one of the things why we kind of chill the pastry is because it'll stick to things. So luckily I have the marble board and the marble cutting, or the marble board and the marble rolling pin, which helps a little bit with the dough sticking. Lots of flour is important, although you don't want too much because it'll just change the texture. And with most pastries, you don't want to play with them too much, or they start to get tough and lose the flakiness, because you want those little pieces of shortening to stay in there, because that's what's going to give you the little pockets. In the summer, when I'm doing both a full Wednesday and a Saturday, you're looking at around 32 dozen for a Saturday and 24 or more for a Wednesday, so a little over, what was that, 56 dozen in a week, plus pies on top of that, and anything else that we decide to whip up that week. Like I could make them without, like I don't have to look at the recipe anymore, I just kind of make them. I even, when I went on one of my builds to Indonesia, I made butter tarts there in the kitchen at the resort that we were staying at, because they wanted to, they had no idea what they were. But it was hard to search around and find the right ingredients to make them, so they weren't quite exactly how I would make them. So in the mixer I've got softened butter and sugar that's been creamed together, and into that I'm going to add, I have eggs, salt, vanilla, and corn syrup. That's going to go in there and mix up. Aside from the maple ones, they all start with the same filling. I just add The only difference is what I put in the shells before I add the filling. Whereas if I do a batch of maple, I substitute some of the corn syrup for maple syrup. I use a 1/4 cup measure to get in there. There's a fine line between underfilling and overfilling, because both will end up with the same result. The only difference is if you overfill it, because the filling puffs up as it cooks. If I overfill it, it ends up spilling over, and then they end up hard to get out, and you end up with less filling inside than you would have if you went a little bit less. All right, so these are going to go in the oven for 20 minutes. We'll be at the market all winter long on Saturdays. The market is open Wednesdays till noon to 6 and Saturdays 10 to 3 for the winter hours, and we do stay open year round.